Good evening, everyone. It's February 14th, 2024. Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I'd like to call this first work session. I think we're going to call them work sessions, but this initial or inaugural work session that we're having for the city of Mableton prior to our city council meeting. Apologies for the late start this evening. It's a 5:15 start, which is quite different for all of us and working through traffic and logistics. So apologies to everyone in attendance and online for us getting this show on the road. But I'd like to go ahead and start the work session by having our clerk call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Yes. Mayor Owens.
Present.
Councilmember Ron Davis, District 1.
Present.
Councilmember District 2, Dami Oladapo.
Present.
And Councilmember for District 3, Keisha Jeffcoat.
Present.
Councilmember for District 4, Patricia Auk.
Present.
Councilmember for District 5, TJ Ferguson.
Present.
And Councilmember for District 6, Deborah Herndon.
Present.
And we have our quorum. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We do have a couple of items this evening for the work session that we want to be able to talk about. Remember, guys, during the work session, we're going to have new business come on, whether ordinances or general discussion or things that we need to talk about that's going to be related to the following city council meeting later this evening. The first item of new business, if our finance consultant is prepared, it will be item 3A, which is the first read of an ordinance that we're having. The ordinance is part of Article 5, Chapter 2, the Administration of the City Code of Ordinances. So, Frank, if you're prepared, would you mind coming up front and talking through this ordinance for us, if you don't mind?
So I thought I was going to have a PowerPoint so that you could be seeing, but I have sent the whole of this presentation to each one of you for your references, and I'll be using this one. She'll be making a copy so that you can have them. She'll find out.
And Frank, so there's no way to project it?
They are not here.
Okay.
Yeah, the board, we need the board.
Okay.
I have the presentation. That's what I thought. That's why I didn't make.
Well, no,
copy.
I was saying for the public, just to be able to project it, but I get the.
Yeah, there's none.
Okay.
I have
Well,
the
we'll have it
laptop,
for
but
the-
without I can't.
We'll have it for the meeting.
So we will be.
Mr. Malazzi, one moment, please. Does everyone on the council have a copy of the presentation? He emailed it out to everyone. I just want to make sure. Okay, thank you. Proceed, sir.
So finance is the blood of any organization. Without finance, there's nothing, because the finance is the one that deals with money. We can't pay employees, we can't purchase equipment, we can't pay obligations. So we need to have a sound, fiscal, responsible foundation of finance. And that's the main aim, the main purpose of this ordinance, is to set foundation, good foundation. Because if you don't know where you're going, you may end up somewhere else. I really like that. You may end up somewhere else. Because what you are doing today, what you are planning today, is the good for tomorrow. If you don't plan today, tomorrow will still come, but you'll be in tomorrow without knowing what to do. You may be busy the entire day having done nothing. So this is where we are. We are setting up policies and procedures. And the city is having this policy of finance setting up with the ordinance. Ordinance is the biggest or the highest level of authority of any government. So you can see how important, how seriousness it is, finance laying up the good foundation. Because it's this finance that will have to be a good steward of taxpayers' money. how we are using it, how we are investing it, what fund balance is all about. That's what we'll be talking about in details. So I'll be summarizing, but as I said, there will be details in the presentation and in the ordinance itself. So the first one is the purpose. What's the purpose of it? A foundation for long and short-term planning decision, making and providing direction to the city council and operational staff handling the day-to-day's financial businesses. The fiscal year. Our fiscal year, as you know, now we are operating on a spending plan because our fiscal year starts July 1. That's the time when July 1 starts, we'll have a budget. A budget is for one fiscal year, so it will be July 1 through June 30th of 2025. Then we have municipal budget. During that time of 1 year, government have a budget on an annual basis. We have also, we call it a capital improvement or capital plan. It may be 5 years, but still it's revised every year because we have only mandates, counties, local government, all local government have mandate for one fiscal year. So what we will be spending now is up to June 30th. That's it. Whatever remains, we'll have to roll into the new fiscal year. That will be July 1. That's when we start our fiscal year. July 1 up to 2025, June 30th. So that's the fiscal year. So here we have a fiscal year, and we are talking about the purpose of financial services. Then the municipal budget. The city council shall annually appropriate funds to operate all various departments and meet current expenses for the city for the next fiscal year, July 1 to June 30th. And there will be a lot of things that will happen during that time. We may have projected revenues, and those revenues may be higher, may be less. That's where we'll be amending the budget. When you have more than what you expected, you amend. When you have less than you expected, you amend. And that's both for revenues and expenses. So you adopted the budget, but the budget is an ongoing because there are a lot of activities that happen during the fiscal year. Budget ordinance, municipal appropriations ordinance now is in full force or hereafter adopted with all amendments as are adopted from time to time shall continue. Municipal fund balance include the following. Fund balance, I define first fund balance. Fund balance is the balance or the remains or the residue of what you appropriated. At the end of the year, you say we are going to spend 10 million. Only it happens that we were so fiscal responsible, instead of 10 million, we spent 8,500,000. That means we still have got 1.5 that is unspent. That's fund balance. So when the following year, we make appropriations or we make the budget of 12 million. So we will say 12 million plus our fund balance, and that fund balance is 1.5. Most of the times you hear about a rainy day fund. Rainy day fund, all of us, we know we are just coming from COVID, where we didn't budget, where we didn't plan. Circumstances like those ones where you can pull the money, or you have shortfall of revenues, you can pull that one and you can add on the budget. So it's really, really advisable not to spend everything. Have rainy day in case of some events, in case of some emergencies. In case of something happens even without emergencies, you want to buy something. You want to buy police vehicle, 3, 4, that you didn't budget. You can pull that money and buy the vehicle or any other needs that we may have in municipal government. So we have several fund balances, how you appropriate money from fund balance. Then when you have your budget, you have your fund balance, And within those fund balance, there may be the following: assigned. Assigned are resources. You assign, the council will assign. And these are resources restricted by management based on the intent of use for those resources per city council directive. City council will say, Mr. Manager or Miss Manager, you need to put aside so much money. This money we want to, you can designate any how you want it. You may want to put, say, employees increase, anything that you may think of. That money is assigned. It has been assigned. Most of the times it's the management that will, but eventually the budget is the council. So it will be just recommended, or finance will recommend, let's leave this money for this. We're anticipating this to come. Then that money will be, you can't touch that one, it's there. When you are appropriating, you can't touch. When you are spending, you can't touch that money. Then you have committed. And committed are financial resources whose use is restricted by action of the council, which will remain binding unless removed in the same matter, creating the restriction. You may say we want to have capital improvement. And capital improvement will be the money that we have to buy, that we have buy equipment, we have to develop. And that one, you also have to define how you are going to create that. We may get money and put in there, or we may have every year, you may say every year we need 2% of the budget to go to capital, and that one you can't touch it. Until you come back, you say we no longer, because it has achieved the intent that we wanted it for, it has accomplished what we wanted it for, so you removed it. Then you may also have restricted financial resources that are subject to externally enforceable legal restrictions, such as debt. You borrowed money, that obligation, there's no way out. It's not for you, but it's for the external that you have committed you are going to pay. Whether it's 1%, whether it's 5 million, that one is restricted. Or you see that everything here is council application. Council directs it. It may come from staff, management, but it's the baby of the council. Unassigned. Unassigned, that's the money you can do with all these three we have removed. So there's money unassigned. So if you come to me, you ask me, what's our fund balance? You just tell me in that way, I'll tell you fund balance is 5 million. Then sometimes you say, but you told us fund balance is 20 million, how come? Because for me, it's not 20 million, it's the money that today I can assign it. It's unassigned, that we can use it. The other one they have got some restrictions. So unassigned is when the budget, there's a shortfall, that's where you go. Unassigned. So fund balance is divided into those that I have mentioned are assigned, committed, restricted, and unassigned. It's not assigned. And then we have city general fund, may maintain all components of these funds. So we will have several funds. Now we have just general fund, but as we grow, we have various funds. We have enterprise fund, we have water, we have all that. But you can have all these funds balanced, accounted for in the general fund. Then we have debt policy. I am on section 6. If you go section 6, there's section 1 up to section 15. I'm in a summary here. So you go to section 6, that's where you find the city's general fund may maintain all these ones. 6 is accounting and auditing. When we have a budget, when we have created a budget, we are supposed to, when you have created a budget, we will be presenting reports. We will be required to have been audited. auditing is to make sure that we have made use of the funds, appropriated funds, as we wanted to. And most of the times, almost all of them, this assignment is done by the external auditors, where those have got internal or they don't have auditors, but it's someone from outside. So we need to be, every year, we have to perform an audit that will show transparency of how we have spent our taxpayers' money. And in 7, which I've already talked about again, Section 7 is about debt policy. As mandated by Article 9, Section Paragraph 1 of the Constitution of the State of Georgia, the city's direct general obligations indebtedness does not exceed 10% of assessed value of all taxable property within the city limit. So it's not what you have just budgeted, but you may borrow up to 10 if you account for all property, taxable property wealth in the city limit. Assessed value, 10% of that. You can, that's the limit. You can't borrow more than the 10% of the assessed value within your city limit. And all that one will be in our policy. So when we are borrowing money, we'll first look into that. Have we arrived there? For us to get into there, unless literally most of the times you don't even, you don't reach there. But it's there to guide us. Then we have investments. Investments policy and the cash management. The city will maintain a conservative program of investing all funds. I want to make it clear here, as someone who is a certified investment manager, when you talk about investment, most people will talk about making money, return. That's not investment. The main purpose of investment is safety, to make sure that your principal will be safe. Remember, the quicker you want to make money, the quicker you can lose money. And the first policy is to make sure that money will be safe. If everything happens, you will not lose a penny from your principal. That's the number one. Number two is liquidity. I'll give you an example. You have all your money in CDs, and CD may be a year. But come 6 months, you need money. And you can't go to CD. You can go to CD, but you have fees. You'll be charged fees. So when you are investing, you need to know your inflows and outflows. When do we receive money? When do we spend money? How much can we invest? And how safe will be our capital? We have guidelines, but there are some that they will forget or they will forgo, and they will see, let me make more money, and you have heard they lose money. So the first one is safety, liquidity. Return is the last one. At least whatever you have invested, you need to have return, benefit out of it. Then number 9, section 9, it's monetary receipt policy. And this is, in summary, is to say whatever you receive, and all this one is done, you may not know on the back side of it, behind the scenes, finance. Make sure every receipt that we have to deposit on daily basis. Unless otherwise, we deposit every day. We make ways, means and words. Sometimes you may have all your departments not on the same side, but we have ways to make sure that either the money is collected or you hire out, you contract out, they will pick the money and make the deposit to make sure every day money is deposited for several reasons. For safety, but for temptations for employees, that's also to safeguard employees, to make sure that our resources are taken care of it. That's much of that policy of monetary and receipts. In section 10, you have That's the contractual procedure. Contractual procedure contracts, you have a lot of contracts, several contracts, obligations. But it's indicated there that every contract, you have to make sure that the mayor, the city attorney, they have reviewed and they know what they are getting into, and all this one they are doing on behalf of the council. And the contract will not be complete without it being in written form, and it is drawn or submitted to and received by the city council, binding on binding the city unless otherwise. And the third one will be, it is made or authorized by the mayor and council pursuant to law enacted ordinance. There will be ordinances that will talk about contractual procedures. Then you have purchasing. Purchases, you can't buy something that you don't have enough money. So we will have enough money, and we will write policies. Again, purchasing policy, I think we already have a draft that will be covered here. Here is just a summary, but we'll have those policies in details. The city council shall prescribe by ordinance the procedure for all purchases of real and personal property by the city. Prior to making all purchasing and contract, the availability of adequate funds shall be certified or provided by ordinance. And number 12, sale and disposal of property. We will be buying, and there will come a time that we have to retire some property. We'll either have auction, that's talking about that. It will be another policy by itself in details. So you will see from 12 up to number 15, some are talking already about fund balance that I have already covered in details. And in number 15 is the implementation and the review. These policies that we are going to make, they will be reviewed almost on an annual basis. If the council sees to it that it's not, most of the times it will be recommendation from finance, because more than 90% of all these ones will be covered by finance. So it will be a recommendation of finance, bring it up to the council, act on it, amend it, and then it becomes a policy. With that, I have gone it very quick. You have this one in details, then you have the ordinance in details. I want to leave time for you to question or to comment so that when you are acting on this one or bringing you policies and procedures based on this one, at least you are aware of what is to come.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How many audits occur within the fiscal year? How many audits occur within the fiscal year?
There's one audit per year. There's one audit per year, but here is what I emphasize. Finance or the city should not be 100% depending or wait until the auditors come. Auditors are not to make house for us. They are coming just to make sure that we have done everything, to approve that what you have done, it's within state, federal, and local guidelines, or you have followed your own policies and procedures. It doesn't make sense you put in procedures, internal controls, then you don't follow them. So we have to make house in order ourselves. So for instance, we start July 1 through June 30th. The auditors will come, and you have to produce audit 6 months thereafter. So by December 30th, you close your fiscal year June 30th. That by December, your auditors should be done. And then you should also take a stand, which I'm looking forward, we are going to do that. We will apply for Government Finance Officers Association. That one, it's more than audit. Information that you give there is more than audit. You talk about the entire community, what is happening there, businesses. There's a lot that is going there. And when you are getting a bond, you are getting a debt, most of the time they will not look for audit, they will look for this. Because it has more information. They will even show who are the high taxpayers there. What are the big companies in your organization? There's a lot. So audit is done once a year, once fiscal year. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So once a year, we're also to be provided a report for, is that going to be June 30th, or when would the council be provided the annual report?
We'll have a report. Actually, we're just waiting to have our financial system implemented. Actually, we are supposed to be getting on a monthly basis to see what the revenues are and what are the, once that one is done on a monthly basis. But beyond monthly basis, you can call anytime, you can say, what we do is you have access to that. For finance, you have access, you cancel. Each one of you have access, but sometimes you say, okay, Frank, I need you to print me this, 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 or can you explain? Then we'll go. But on a monthly basis, you have how much money came in, how much money for every fund that you have, how much money have gone out. Then when you do 6 months, which is budget, halfway, to see halfway how much have we gone. That's the time you make budget amendments. We projected so much revenue, we are not going to make it. So we reduce, and remember, expenses will also be reduced because it has to be a balanced budget. Or we have received grants that we never expected. The grants are coming in, we have more revenues. Either they go to fund balance, or we have to find some expenses, corresponding expenses, so that our budget is always balanced. You have balanced budget revenue equal to expenses, but fund balance, you can have as much as possible.
Thank you.
Did I answer your question?
And so far we have, we'll just be recommending to you, we have had our software, we had reviewed them. So we will just be coming to you, here's what we have chosen, allow us, then we start implementing how much it is. But we are so happy that the ones that we have chosen, they are of our size. There are various software. Some are for small municipalities, some are big municipalities, some are medium. We are not medium, we are big, but we are not that. So very soon, and as we'll be starting budget sessions next month, we want that one as quickly as possible.
Yes. So Frank, I know it's not directly related to the ordinance, but since you're talking about it, I want to be clear as we can. What's the timeline it looks like for the implementation, or the selection then implementation? When do you think it'll actually be up, when we can start putting data in and information in it?
So we will bring to you, these are the ones that we recommend. Then you allow us to accept them. Mm-hmm. But what we have done, this will be my 4th implementation software. It depends. Some, they will take the minimum so far, 9 months. But some, they will take within 6 months. The one that we are talking about, they say, because we want it by June 30th. The software is implemented. So when we are having budget July 1, we already have it. So they have said we will do as much as we can, because we don't have data ourselves to transfer. What we have is just almost nothing. So we'll have no integration of, that sure. Gives us within 3 months, 4 months, it will be implemented.
Okay. Yeah, that's really what I was trying to get to, is the implementation time itself for the software, because I know that rollout will take a defined amount of time, and then we need to utilize that software to actually create the budget.
Right.
By June 30th. So.
By June 30th, the budget, the software will be in system. We should have already started providing reports and the budget. So we worked with them. we are good to go. And we'll ask it will be up to you. Do you want them to come to present? And it will be up to you, or you say go ahead, we'll continue. The good thing is it's not parallel. The system is already here. We have another one. This one, we don't have to bring in. It will be there.
Sure, thank you.
Your staff has reviewed, so it's not only me. Your team represented you.
Yep.
Sometimes quiet, that means I didn't do a good job, or we got everything.
So, Frank, I have one question that,
Yes.
as I'm reading through, and I've been trying to figure it out on my own, but the term debt, okay, as you define debt, is that simply, well, I'll say the easy loans, or does that include commitments that we have as well? So, for instance, if we're looking for a building, and we sign a 3-year lease or whatever, does that get incorporated into our debt number?
So I'm very fiscal responsible, very. And the time I'll come to you, because what you do is we don't have money. This is what we want to do. Then you transfer to me to go and look for money. Then I'll go and find it. So debt is where you cannot make it, you can't pay it. You don't have. So there are various ways of how you can fund the debt or what type of debt you can get. You may get a 12-month debt depending on how big it is, what other commitments do you have that will make you not pay in a year. Remember, the budget is for a year, but the debt, most of the times you take these debts, they may be 20 years. And if you are really fiscal responsible, it may be 20 years, but you pay maybe within 15 years. There you are saving interest, that's that. But sometimes it's good to stretch it, then you pay it, then you benefit out of it. I have been in some communities where we are given to pay in 4 years, and we paid in less 1.5 years because we had money. Now we may say we don't have money, but as we grow, you found out that money is coming. Some we may make them out. So it's the money that you go out to borrow, either bank or you have bonds that you will be paying over the years or over more than a fiscal year. Some you may take a debt, but you don't want it to refinance it. What you say is we will pay as we go. So we will be appropriating money for expenses. You also appropriating a percentage to the debt, payment of a debt.
Thank you.
A good example is the municipal building or even renting out temporarily where to be. Those ones eventually, as we are, we may need to go there.
Yes, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions or comments for Frank? No? All right. Thank you, Ms. Malazzi. Appreciate it. Thank you for the presentation and the ordinance presentation. All right, the next item we have for discussion is the Georgia Interlock Risk Management Agency membership. It's something I know we've been kind of talking about, working through. So, Madam Clerk, do you want to bring us up to speed with what we're working on with GMA?
Yes, I'll summarize because I've already sent you most of this already. So the Georgia Interlocal Risk Management Agency is another arm of the GMA who has been our fabulous partner that's helping us with this startup phase. And this is what we really need is because we're starting to make decisions and everything, we have to have our insurance. So the Georgia Interlocal Agency is providing a quote of about $16,073 to start off with for general liability, our public officials, error and omissions liability, automobile liability, which we don't have now, but we will notify them as we start getting our vehicles. We have crime fidelity insurance, property insurance, which will cover our information and our property with our rental property when we start leasing, cybersecurity, risk management services, and other insurance that we need. And in order to get this insurance, they want us to adopt a resolution and sign a contract. So in the packet, which has gone out to everybody, the council's seen it previously, is to sign the contract and approve the resolution. One important thing that the council does not know about is that I found out that the insurance policy will run from May to May. So we're coming in, probably by the time we sign this, I guess maybe by the end of February or even sooner, they will prorate the premium. So we're not going to pay full $16,000 now. We only pay from now until May. And then in May, we will have the bigger premium due. And we can pay it quarterly, or we can pay it all at one time and get a 2% discount. So there's a lot of information. Everybody loves to read insurance policies, so. And the attorney may have some more comments on that one. Nothing? Okay.
I know, Madam Clerk, thanks for that. One of the items that we discussed was around rental property.
Yes.
And the fact, and I think, and that, it was listed in here, but does it matter? Is it covered up to a certain amount or to a certain?
I'm not sure that they answered, the lady that was dealing with us answered rental properties under the city are covered under general liability, where all non-specified properties or services of the city are covered. Updates or additions of new rentals, additions or acquisition of new cars or equipment and others are periodically submitted to GIRMA, that's the short name for it, for update normally on a quarterly basis. The policy itself has the limits in it. It's attached to that memo, all the limits.
Yep. So basically with this, then we don't need separate rental insurance.
No.
This is the point. Okay, thank you.
You said 20% if we pay in full?
2%.
2%.
I know.
I wish 20. I'm assuming we'll pay in full, but we'll know more when we get our software and how our money flow is going.
Anyone have any other questions or comments about this proposed membership?
No.
Wonderful. Okay, so moving on to 4B, is the city employment screening services as we start to take on employees, ensuring that the background checks are done and are accurate is obviously an important part of that process. So, Madam Clerk, do you want to get us up to speed with where we are with that item? And I think we were.
Okay, just a moment.
Sure.
We have lots of paper here. Okay, this is a fun one here. We're starting to hire, and we've made an offer already, and the offer letter does say, and this is practiced by all cities, is contingent upon a background check and a drug test. So that means that the city must have a company in place to run those background checks and do the drug testing. And I have talked with several cities. I have talked with several companies that provide this. And first of all, we have a company doing our payroll, and that company is Paycom. And Paycom will be able to, their software to handle our benefits and keep up with our vacation time and all that. But they do also offer the background check service and the drug testing. However, when they sent us the contract or agreement, it was very lengthy, overwhelming, and the attorney is still looking at it. And so we also have other quotes to compare to Paycom, which is Checker, and the other one is Secure Hire. The city of Tucker uses Secure Hire, and the HR director there told me that, yes, they went through all this looking at these companies, and they saw Paycom's contract, and that they had to negotiate, and the attorney will do that. We'll look at the contract and make recommendations of things to change, and then they'll say okay or no or whatever. And she said that Secure Hire was the better company to deal with about their contract. And as far as prices for these companies, they're all in the general ballpark. I didn't see a whole lot of difference in them. So it's a timely situation for the attorney to look at all of these contracts and decide which one is the best fit for us. She may know already, or she may need more time to look at these even more. So the recommendation is to authorize the mayor in consultation with the city attorney to further negotiate, finalize, and execute an agreement for employment screening services. The bottom line is we have to have this. It's a service we need to prevent any liability of hiring someone that may have something on their record back there that could cause a major liability to us. So it's a have to, but as far as which one, it's going to depend on the negotiation of the contract and what's the best fit for the services that Mableton's going to serve or have for the citizens. So are there any questions? And also the council had received most of this also maybe a week or so ago. So, and I'll ask Amelia Walker-Ashby to please comment further. Thank you.
So Mayor and Council, I did have the opportunity to look at the Paycom agreement. And so my recommendation to Susan as well as the mayor was to get authorization to approve any of the three, and that's because the Paycom agreement, it had a lot of indemnification language that would require negotiation. That would be my recommendation, because a lot of that typically just with leverage as a local government, you're able to pull out. For example, it said that if they were sued for certain purposes, which almost included any purpose, with respect to the services that they provided, that the city would cover their defense and indemnify them and pay attorney's fees and et cetera, et cetera. So it's not unusual language, but it's just language that you can typically leverage out of contracts by negotiation. So my recommendation again would be to give the mayor the authority to choose between these three, and then that way I would have flexibility to negotiate, because we may get to an impasse where Paycom says, no, we're not going to remove it. You either indemnify us or you move on. And my understanding is that is what the city of Tucker was confronted with, and they had to move on to another service provider. So I just don't know yet how much leverage Paycom will give. So the recommendation would be to provide flexibility so that we can move to another vendor if things don't work with negotiating with Paycom.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do find the potential benefit in utilizing Paycom simply because the onboarding system that we already have in place and being able to track onboarding through and just that's another process of onboarding. And to highlight that, redlining and negotiating contracts isn't problematic per se. As our attorney said, it's rather normal to go through redlining process. But with that being said, we do want to leave options open to go with other companies based on that. And if I remember correctly, Madam Clerk, you did say from a pricing perspective, things aren't much
Yeah.
different.
If one part's lower, the other part's higher, and it just sort of balances out. That's pretty much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Do we know what the price for Paycom is? I don't see it in the,
Yes, it's in there. It depends on the services. It was attached at the back of their loan contract.
oh, okay.
It's like a table, and it has all these things you can choose from. The basic thing I think we would do would be a background check, and some instances, we may need a credit check, and of course, the drug test, and we wouldn't, do everything that's available, but the basics for the background check.
Does the screening include degree verification?
Include what? I'm sorry?
Degree verification. Like-
Yes, the education, yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Education, yes, okay.
Education, yeah, yes, make sure, yes. I recommend that one also, yeah.
I have a question regarding the drug screening. Does the drug screening also differentiate people using CBD versus someone actually using marijuana? Do you know?
I do not know that. That's something we can ask about. I do know that people who have prescriptions and things show up as in a prescription, that when you say, I take that under a doctor's care, you just show that that's a prescription and they're okay with it. But and these companies will, they contract with like LabCorp and Quest. Paycom would do a contract with them so that the employee would go to those companies.
Okay, so it would work the same, like if a potential employee is using CBD for medicinal or therapeutic purposes, and it shows up as though, that maybe they can say, well, this is what I'm taking, or...
I couldn't answer that, but I would be glad to find out.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe, yeah.
So the council can set the parameters as far
For
as
the
what
panels.
you want the extent of the service to be. So if we can give instruction and guidance to the servicer as far as what you're looking to test for.
Okay.
So if there are certain exemptions, like medical, of course, or I know that certain states allow, like, for example, marijuana use. And I know that some entities, if you frequent those states, they'll have an exemption if you can show proof that you were in a state where it was legal. So it's just the extent that you want to expand or constrict the policy.
Okay, great, thank you.
And this is talking about background checks and, pre-employment stuff.
Yes.
Would we also be able to use Paycom if we wanted to do random drug tests?
Well, we would have to go through all the contract stuff and have an agreement.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
and does the
well,
contract?
that random would come in through a personnel policy too, so we haven't gotten to that point. An HR director would be the one to
Right,
tell you.
my question is geared around, would we be able to use Paycom to do it, or would we have to go someplace else?
Yeah, so ad hoc checks is what he's talking about.
Oh.
So, and not just onboarding, but at any time
Oh,
you requested
yeah.
someone to be.
Yeah,
And that
if it's,
Paycom would do that.
when you say Paycom, you mean any of the ones we select? Yes, yeah.
No, I meant Paycom.
He means specifically Paycom, but yes, you can do it ad hoc. You could do an ad hoc request through Paycom.
And, Madam Attorney, the documentation that you're reading through, does it give what any kind of liability or penalty for Paycom have if something were to not be captured in the background check? Or if they weren't to let us know something? Go ahead.
That's the question for
It
the
is
attorney.
substantially lopsided. I'll just say
Okay.
that, in their favor. But that's typical. I'm not saying that shows any element of bad faith on their part. It's just, your contracts are the same.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions related to the city employment screening services? No? All right, with that being said, that takes us actually to 6:32, which is time to start our actual council meeting. So with that being said, I don't know that there's a need at this moment to go into executive session. I would ask that we forego that, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn this work session.
A motion to adjourn.
My second?
All in favor of adjourning work session, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it. We are adjourned. With our adjournment, I will, I'm scared to say 5-minute break.
Well, Mayor, what you can do is you can open the meeting and then give a 5-minute recess before you go
Yeah.
into any formalities.
Yeah.
If you want to still open at the 6:30.
So people know.
Are you guys okay with that? Just procedural? Yeah, okay. All right, so with that being said, it is now 6:33. I would like to call to order our regularly scheduled meeting. This is February 14th. Thank you for everyone that has came here. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone and your loved members. What we're going to do, since we literally just ended our work session, I am going to entertain a motion for a 10-minute recess.
Yes, to amend the agenda to allow a 10-minute recess.
Yes, amend the agenda to allow a 10-minute recess.
I make a motion to amend the agenda to allow a 10-minute recess.
I second.
I'll call the question. All those in favor of amending the agenda to allow a 10-minute recess, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. We will take a 10-minute recess. Thank you.
A really 10-minute recess. 6:44.
From the recess, sorry, I was going to say adjournment. Recess, I'd like to entertain a motion to end recess.
A motion to end recess.
I second.
All in favor of ending recess and taking us back into the regular agenda, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. We'll start back at, actually, item number 2, which is the roll call. So, Madam Clerk, if you would call roll for us, please.
Yes, Mayor Owens.
Present.
Councilmember District 1, Ron Davis.
Present.
Councilmember District 2, Dami Aladapo.
Present.
Councilmember District 3, Keisha Jeffcoat.
Present.
Councilmember District 4, Patricia Alk.
Present.
Councilmember District 5, TJ Ferguson.
Present.
And Councilmember District 6, Deborah Herndon.
Present.
We have our quorum. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Takes us to item 3. Councilman Davis, would you please provide invocation this evening for us, please?
Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your grace and mercy, Father. We thank you for all that you have done for us and that you will do, Father. Father, we pray right now that it is your mighty hand that will touch us and guide us as we start this city, Father God, on the right foot, on the right check. So let you, Father, just let you be the one who just guides on each and every day. Touch us in a mighty way. Touch this council. Touch these residents. Bring us all in unity. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Ferguson, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? If you wouldn't mind, stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, it takes us to item 5, which is the agenda. The agenda's been circulated to all the council. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Mayor, I'd like to enter a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of approving the agenda as written, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. We have approved the agenda. Would like to move directly to item 6, which is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is the approval of the January 24th, specially called Transition City Council meeting minutes. Those minutes as well has been distributed by our clerk. And so I don't know that there was any items there to discuss. So as a consent agenda item, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Very quickly, I noticed a typo in the heading, the actual
That's,
date.
that's what I was going to say. I
Okay.
have added the date to
Okay.
those minutes. So that's all I've had of any comments. I caught that myself.
The date, oh. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to, oh my gosh, it left me, approve the minutes on the consent agenda, sorry.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The consent agenda has been approved. Madam Clerk, that takes us to item 7, which is public comment. Do you have any public comment cards for this evening?
Yes, Mayor, I have 3 public comments, and just want to remind you of the speaker rules, which you've seen. It's a 2-minute time limit, and we don't go back and forth with conversation because this is a business meeting. And we ask that you follow decorum rules, and so far everybody has, and they've just been really nice since all the way back to May, and I appreciate that. So our first person is Denny Wilson.
Good evening, Denny Wilson, District 2. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I don't really have a comment, but I have a question for the council. We have not seen a financial statement from the city in a couple of months, and I just wanted to know, when will you guys let us see what's coming in and what's being paid out, and how the monies are being spent? And, you know, at the next meeting, if you guys could just provide that for the citizens, I think it would put a lot of people at ease, because there's a lot of people asking questions now as to the financial stability of the city. And if you put that out, I think it'll put that question to rest. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
Our next person is Stephen Sherrod. And after Stephen, there will be Mr. Michael Murphy. And that will be it.
Good evening. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody assembled. I had two quick orders of business. The first one, Mayor, is I'm going to need you to sign a permission slip for me, for my wife, so that she would know that I was actually doing what I said I was coming to do. I am the board chairman for Family Life Restoration Center here in Mableton. And the vice chair is with me tonight, Michael Murphy. And I'm following up on what I believe he has presented in prior meetings. We had a real issue within the city and on the outskirts of the city regarding folks, just homelessness in general, but in particular, with the weather being what it has been, our challenge is providing warming stations for people to come to. Now, the county's solution for this has been for them to get tokens from Family Life to go to Marietta in cooperation with Musk Ministries and a warming center they have there. It's a tad bit convoluted because there is no guarantee, and we've gotten some complaints that people are relocated from here to there without a real plan for them to come back. They're supposed to get a token, but there have been several who haven't. So we got permission to give them 2 tokens to guarantee at least their return back to the area that they're familiar with. I'm here tonight to echo what Mr. Murphy has already requested, is that we do something, come together. Those of you who have been, and I know you've been there, Mayor, I know you've been there, the reality is we have everything we need right here to take care of citizens who are in of greatest need. Looking for how we can partner to get this started right now. I mean, I'm not even sure why they think Marietta is a better solution, but here to solicit your help, and I'll take that permission slip towards the end of the meeting.
Thank you, sir. See me outside afterwards.
Mr. Murphy of District 4.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Happy Valentine's Day, and as you can see, also Ash Wednesday. So wish everyone a safe and Lent period. Don't know what you're going to give up. I've tried sweets and things like that, but I have some friends that do a great job in baking, and it catches me every time, so I'll try something different this year. I echo the comments of my chairman on the warming center. I simply want to say that we supported forming a city for many good reasons, not the least of which was to take care of the least of these. We're all God's children, and I applaud those who've come to this very body and expressed the difficulties that they're going through, whether it be facing eviction and so forth. But every time I hear the weather forecast, and if it's getting cold, I know that someone is suffering. And I remind you that if you look at the surrounding counties, Fulton, Gwinnett, they at least have 3 to 4 warming centers. And here we are, a county of 800,000, a city of 80,000, and there's 0. And we urge you to see the necessity to support one. We've got 19 empty beds, and we don't mind them being unmade and made up again for the right reasons. The other point I wanted to make was as it relates to getting good employees and the importance of people that represent their city. I know I have recommended at least 2 friends to apply for different positions, and apparently they've not heard any, or gotten any acknowledgement of receipt of their information. And I realize that, as we say in marketing, you get one chance to make a first impression. And I would highly recommend that whatever needs to be done to provide some sort of acknowledgement to the applicants that whatever they set in was received. And last but not least is that the other important issue that we're facing here is housing. And I just noticed our friends in Atlanta just received a $2 million grant for healthy housing. And I'll just leave you with the quote from Senator Warnock. Georgia's children can't grow and thrive unless they're living in a safe and healthy environment. When we fight for the health of children across the Peach State, we fight for the health of our future leaders. So I'm certainly aware that there are solutions out there. Certainly the need is out there, and I encourage you to give it your attention in the manner that I believe that you're certainly considering. And with that, I probably would need a permission slip myself, but thank you for your time. And I guess I finished right on time, Madam Clerk. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
And I do not have any more cards. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. With that said, I'd like to move to item 8, which is new business. Item A for this is the resolution authorizing membership in the Georgia Interlocal Risk Management Agency. I would like to entertain a motion to approve this item.
I motion to approve GERMA membership.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. With that, I'd like to call to question all those in favor of approving the resolution authorizing membership in the Georgia Interlocal Risk Management Agency, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. It's been approved. Thank you. That takes us to item 8B. 8B is the authorization for Mayor Owens, myself, to finalize employment screening services as we just talked about earlier in the work session. I'd like to entertain a motion for authorization for the mayor to finalize employment screening services.
I make a motion for the mayor to finalize employment screening services.
I second.
Thank you. With that, I'd like to call to question all those in favor of authorizing Mayor Owens to finalize employment screening services, please say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. I hear no opposition. The ayes have it, and we will carry forward with that business. This takes us to item 9. Item 9 is authorization for Mayor Owens to waive the occupational tax penalties, interest, and late fees through April 30th. This is directly connected to the business license rollout that we've had and working with companies and business owners across the city as we transition the business license and occupational tax process from the county to the city. Normally, at January 30th, there are fees and penalties that are associated. And because we are still working through this transition process, I would like to, as I said before, I want to ensure that there's no burden or additional burden on our business owners within the city. So this discussion item is basically for asking authorization so that I can waive these penalties, late fees through April 30th of 2024. I feel this is the best thing to do in interest of our business owners and those people that are out working hard day to day. But because of us being a new city, implementing a new system, and basically just the transition of this service and working through the logistics with the county, I want to make sure that not a single business is penalized for this activity. And so since this is an item for discussion, does Madam Attorney, do you have anything to add to this?
So Mayor, this actually is a discussion item, but the request would be that the council give specific authority by vote.
Right.
And that's just because the occupation tax code that we adopted gives the mayor express authority through the end of February.
Do you have anything to add besides that, then?
No, just the recommendation would be as written.
Thank you. Council, any questions, comments on this item? With that, I would like to seek authorization for this, so I would like to ask or entertain a motion for authorization to waive the occupational tax penalties, interest, and late fees through April 30th of 2024.
I'm sorry, I do have one question.
Sure, go ahead.
What's magical about April 30th?
I don't know. I want to make sure we have enough time, because we've done this already, right? We extended it out. Extending out through April 30th just provides a lot more time. I don't want to do it to March, right? We just go to April. I don't know if there's a magic or behind it besides giving more time.
No, there's no magic. I just felt that just given the system just coming out, I just felt that 2 months, an extra 2 months would be reasonable.
Yeah.
But you can shorten it, you can extend it as well.
Well, no, I think the other part of it is just want everybody to know that we are diligently working through the issues that anybody might be having, sort of thing,
Sure.
and just kind of expressing that to them.
Yeah, I just didn't want to come back potentially next month, do March now and then come back to April. Yeah, so this just simplifies it just to take it out to April 30.
So I'd like to give a motion to authorize Mayor Owens to waive occupation tax penalties, interest, and late fees through April 30th, 2024.
A second.
Thank you. I'd like to call the question. All those in favor of authorization of mayor to waive occupational tax penalties, interest, and late fees through April 30th, 2024, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. I do appreciate that. We will, as a matter of fact, with that, we'll go through the process of ensuring that we notify those people in the process and update the website as well.
Yep, I will update the website tonight.
Thank you, sir. All right, that takes us to item 10, which is the city attorney comments. Madam Attorney, sorry.
No comments, Mayor.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, any comments?
Yes, I just want to make a point that we are not having a second meeting in this month because the mayor and council are required to go to mandated training, and they will be meeting state law to go. And so there's not a meeting on the the fourth Wednesday of February. We'll see you in March, I think.
Thank you for that. If there's not a special session called before then?
Yeah.
Just putting it out there. Councilman Davis, do you have any comments, sir?
Yes, sir. Just briefly, again, happy Thanksgiving Thanksgiving. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. I haven't eaten all day hardly, so I'm thinking about food. But again, I just want to say and reiterate what I kind of said the last time in terms of us being a city that this council, and I'm proud to work with them, working diligently to get everything up and running. We're now approaching 8 months old. So there's still a lot that we have to put in place, a lot of work to be done, and everybody's, pardon the French, busting their tails to make that happen. But I do hear again, and we do hear again, the concerns, particularly things like the housing. That's in my other life, that was my wheelhouse in banking. And it is unfortunate, again, not making excuses, but asking for patience, and we will definitely, we will be working on that to help as much as we possibly can. So again, we're working hard, we're gonna do our best, we're gonna make things happen, but we also need your help and involvement and engagement. So bear that in mind, because we can't do this by ourselves. So with that, again, happy Valentine's Day, and may I also need that excuse as well. Thank you.
Councilman Oladapo.
All right, thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to thank you all for being here tonight and wish you all a happy Valentine's Day. Who needs a romantic dinner when we can be here together in the company of what we love so much, the city of Mableton, right? Just joking. I would rather be with my husband. But just want to thank you for taking the time to come here and join us. you're the heart of this community, and I'm really happy to see each and every one of you. Also, I would like to share my excitement about the partnership with the Neighborhood Assistant Corporation of America, called NACA, to bring their homebuyer workshop into the city of Mableton for the first time. And what's even more exciting for me is that our residents will have the opportunity to purchase a home in this unprecedented market with zero closing costs, zero down payment, zero fees, below market interest rate, which you can buy down, and your credit doesn't have to be great. So I think that's an amazing deal, and as we all work diligently to stand up this city, just like Councilman Ron said, we are keeping in mind your concerns and what you need the most, and which for District 2 is housing, as we've heard multiple times during these meetings, during public comments. And that is why I'm also very excited to be able to partner with NACA to bring this to the city of Mableton. And it is so important that we get the word out. I hope every council member and the mayor can also help to get the word out in their district. And while this is not a one-size-fits-all to the housing problem that we're experiencing, I think with Mableton being approximately 33% renters, this is just an opportunity that we cannot pass by. And it is very crucial that we provide to our residents the information that they need to own their own homes. And, of course, in the near future, we'll work on setting up committees to address evictions, to address homeowner problems, and every other issues that, we hear our constituents having. But I think we are on the right path with this. And it's really important that we start thinking about owning homes and not leaving everything up to the apartment complexes. And I have some flyers out by the entrance. I also have a lot more. If you need some, maybe for your apartments or for your friends and for your family, please let me know. The event is happening at the SAE School on Mableton Parkway. We actually have about 345 people already registered. So the more people we can get out there, I think the more beneficial it'll be for the community. It's on the 9th. It starts at 9, but I'll be there at 8:30 with bells and whistles, just ready to cheer you on and welcome you. So I think I've covered everything. Well, thank you all so much again for coming tonight, and fly us out there. Take one, and take one for your friends and your family and anyone you think would benefit from this event. I'm so excited about it. When my husband and I first purchased our first home, I wished we knew about this, because the down payment and closing costs cost us a small fortune in our little savings. So this is a great opportunity. I keep saying that, and I hope we take advantage of it as a community. Thank you all so much.
Thank you for that. Councilwoman Jeff Cook.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. I second Councilwoman Oladapo, because the NACA program is amazing. I learned about it a couple years ago. And so if you have an opportunity to go, please, please join her on the 9th, because it's a very important program, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. But it's for everyone, yes. And then I also want to express, the public comments regarding the warming centers. I have a deep, deep empathy for those that are in need. And so I hear your urgency about it. It's vitally important for us to get involved in that. And I'm hoping sooner than later, because there is a storm that's coming. I heard there was a cold front that's coming, and it's just important that we address that. So we hear you. And then I also want to thank the mayor and the council. Last week, we had an opportunity to do some interviews, and it went very well. I can say I had an opportunity to interview with a few of the council here, but me and Deborah, we had a ball, and it was a great time. So we're making progress. We had some great candidates, awesome candidates, and so hopefully we'll get an opportunity to continue to narrow down our selection. and continue to onboard, vet, screen, and do everything we need to do to get everyone on board so we can continue to work. I believe it was last week, we had the CAB meetings as well, right? Yep, that went well. It was a packed house in the library. It was packed. It was kind of tight. But I'm hoping that we will continue to have a much larger turnout. I'm in District 3, so if you're wanting to volunteer and be a representative for one of our cabs, certainly please feel free to reach out to me or any of us once you determine which district you're in. And then lastly, but not least important, it is Black History Month. And we need to commemorate the contributions of Black African Americans in the U.S. and within our own communities. You know, we need to celebrate that. We don't need to celebrate in just a month, right? It should be all the time. So that's significantly important to me. There are a couple of things that are going on in our sister cities. There's an evening with Daniel Black. He's an author. And that's going to be at the Smyrna Community Center, February 23rd at 5:30 p.m. So if you have an opportunity to go to that, please definitely go to that. And then lastly, there's a Georgia Black Vendor Market that's going to be going on in Powder Springs. So that's a neighboring city. And so I'm pretty sure there are other events that are going on throughout the month. So if you have an opportunity to check any of those out, please, by all means, go and do that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman
I always forget to prepare city council comments, so I'm just going to kind of wing it a little bit. So as Council Member Jeff Coate mentioned, we had our Commission Boards and Authorities meeting on February 7th, and it had a great turnout. If you were interested in being a part of our boards and authorities and commissions, and you're in District 4, you can contact me at my email at patricia.alk@mableton.gov. This Friday is Georgia Arbor Day, which is on the third Friday of February, which is not National Arbor Day, but it's the pick that day for just a good time of year in Georgia to plant a tree. So I hope you will be environmentally conscious and think of Mableton and maybe think about planting a tree in your yard this Friday. Also, for those who are into fitness, the Silver Comet 10K will be next month, and what day is it? It's a great Peachtree Road Race qualifier. I'll have to look up the date online, guys. I'm sorry, but it's here in Mableton, and it's a great race. It's flat, and it's got that fake speed, so you can get a really good spot in the Peachtree. So anyway, that's all I have. Thank you all for coming tonight, and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. Councilman Ferguson.
Good evening, all. So I definitely want to shout out Luther and Angela Washington, who are back there in the back of the Family Life Restoration Center. Thank you for all the great things. Thank you for all the great that you and the board do, and right here in Mableton, and we appreciate you. We definitely want to partner with you and the things that you need to do. I need to know more about warming centers. I apologize that I'm ignorant to that, but I want to know more. So let's get together and have discussions about it. I'm here, duty calls. And when you have a queen in your corner, she will remind you when you're being foolish, but also that a day does not define love. It's all 364 days that surround the one day. Not to mention, we hardly do things because it's always costs extra on Valentine's Day. But I'm here, and I'm so proud to be here with this council. City of Mableton, so happy Valentine's Day. Remember the words of the Honorable Maynard Jackson in his 1974 inaugural speech when he said, "We must be a city of love, and our definition of love must be a definition of action. Love must be a city filled with people working together to improve the quality of all our lives." That's what Mableton needs to be. That's what I think we are striving towards, and I'm proud to be a part of everything that we're getting ready to do. So again, we had our committees, boards, and advisories discussion last week, and I was also pleased to see everyone that came out. And I'm even more pleased that District 5 is leading the charge in applications. So let's keep that up, District 5. And because I'm pretty competitive, I'm challenging the other districts to catch up.
I think we already caught up.
Catch up, come on. Last year at this time, our city council races were in full swing, if you remember. And we all ran on the premise that we wanted to hear from you. And that, and here's your chance, here's your chance. So welcome to this, our first regularly scheduled meeting of 24. It's been a rough road, it's been a fun road to get here, and I'm proud to have made it and not done something to get me in trouble. Now, I will also say I replaced my American flag today with my African kente cloth lapel pin, because while I am a proud veteran, I am a black man in America first. So all I ask is that you continue to strive to hug a black man, because he needs a hug every once in a while. And just be mindful about learning more about our African American history and where this country has been and where this country is going. We're on a great trajectory, but we've got to do it together. So I look forward also to celebrating Black History Month, Latin American Month, Asian Pacific Month, and all the different months that represent our city in years to come. So thank you all for coming out tonight, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
All right, good evening. I want to thank all of you all for coming out. I just wanted to mention really quickly, as several of our other council members have already said, you know, we really would like your participation in our cabs. There's a lot of different positions and introductions to our city, and I think it will be a good opportunity for those of you who have the time to volunteer. And also, I wanted to mention, I've received calls from several businesses in District 6 that have had issues with trying to renew their business license online. So I appreciate the mayor and the rest of the council thinking about the fact that you shouldn't be penalized, you know, for being late if you can't get your application submitted. So I just wanted to extend myself, not just in District 6, any district. If you have any issues with doing your business license online, you can reach out to me at deborah.herndon@mableton.gov, and I can try to walk you through the steps if you have any issues. And lastly, I also want to commend the Family Life Restoration Center. I've been there maybe twice. I've been there during the dinners that you all had for the families who had lost their homes due to the fire, and I'm extremely impressed by what you all are doing. You all have such giving, loving hearts, and there's a genuineness and a sincerity that is just palpable when, you know, I was in your presence. So I also hear what you're saying. I often consider people who are unhoused, and when the weather is bad, and, you know, I see, you know, coming in from the city, you know, people, you know, under bridges and sleeping out in the cold. And I mean, I have been blessed in my life not to have experienced that, but unfortunately so many people do. So it's such a waste to have a facility where there are beds there, there's love there, there's food. I've been in the pantries, I've seen all the food in there, you know, and so we certainly want to put that to use. And so I appreciate you all bringing this to our attention, and this is something that I think we all, you know, can get behind and try to make some changes so, you know, that, you know, resource can be utilized to the fullest. So thank you so much for letting us know about that. And to everyone, happy Valentine's Day, and thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I would first just like to thank you all for coming, as usual, as we normally getting used to knowing the people that attend and show up here meeting after meeting, and we definitely do appreciate it. I personally appreciate it. We are wearing these weird scarves from Cities United. Again, it's a part of the Georgia Municipal Association held a conference here in Atlanta weekend before last, and several of us had the opportunity to attend for training, for fellowship, to work with other mayors and city council people from across the state that came to Atlanta to learn and to just come together about best practices and things that we can do. It also was a momentous occasion for us as a city because I guess I can say we won our first award as a city. And unfortunately, I didn't bring it because it's at home sitting on my mantle. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's so we were one of 30, I think 36 cities that were awarded the Cities of Civility Award. This is only the second time this award has been given out. I think the first time was last June. So the City of Civilities Initiative was established by GMA in 2023 to encourage municipal elected officials to acknowledge their responsibility in modeling free, open, and vigorous debate while maintaining the highest standards of civility, honesty, and mutual respect, not only with each other, but with those that they serve. This is something that I hope that all of you have seen that we have modeled thus far. I'm thankful that GMA has seen us in that. As a matter of fact, when we were receiving the award, the president of GMA, Larry Hansen, shot me the quick comment going, "You guys have made it on stage already. Well, great job, Mayor." To simply say that we are, as I said many times, we're moving forward. There's things that we are getting done, and we are being recognized and noticed across the state for work that we are doing, work that we have done in these past 6 or 7 months. I just further wanted to say about that was, as we continue to move forward, there will be times where on the council you will not see 7-0 votes, unanimous votes on things, and that's okay, right? Because we each represent different parts of the city with different ideas and ideas about how to get there. And so I want to make sure that this award that we got for civility speaks to our ability to disagree, but yet respect each other, respect each other's voices and opinions, because we recognize that what we bring here as a collective body is actually representative of all of you. And so, it was made reference earlier that, talk about our cabs, that if you want to get involved, speak to your council person about that. But I implore you to speak with your council person on a regular basis. Items that come up, look, I'm not telling you not to call me, because trust me, I get a lot of the calls. But please feel free to, I don't want to speak on your behalf, but reach out to your council people on a regular basis. Let us know what's going on, let us know what's happening. And I think I'd just like to end on a note of thank you all for what you do. We've had our first work session. It was a bit of a challenge for those of you who wasn't here then to kick things off at 5:15. But dealing with Atlanta traffic, I am grateful for the opportunity to be able to serve as mayor. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. And with that, I'd like to entertain a motion to move us into executive session for litigation, real estate, personnel, and exemptions.
I motion to move us into executive session for litigation, real estate, personnel, and exemptions.
I second.
Thank you. Call the question. All those in favor of moving us into executive session for litigation, real estate, personnel, and exemptions, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. We will move into executive session. Thank you, everyone.
5 minutes.
All right, thank you to everyone who bothered to stay with us while we were in executive session. Could I get a motion to end executive session, please?
I'll make a motion to end executive session.
I second it.
All those in favor of ending executive session, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay.
I wish
Hearing no
you would.
opposition, we'll close out of executive session. This takes us to one more item that we have on the agenda, which is item 14, which is a part of the old business. This is actually the second read of the ordinance that we have. The name of the ordinance is the ordinance granting franchises to Georgia Power Company. Madam Attorney, would you like to, anything you want to add to this before I call for a motion?
Nothing further, Mayor, other than the first read was initially in June of 23, and we've been,
Turn your mic on.
the first read for this was initially in June of 23, and we've been in contact with Georgia Power, so there's no further discussion beyond that, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Attorney. I'd like now to entertain a motion to approve the second read of the ordinance granting franchise to Georgia Power Company.
I motion that we authorize the mayor in consultation with the city attorney to finalize negotiations and execute the franchise agreement with Georgia Power.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
So moved, and it's been seconded. I'd like to call to question all those in favor of authorizing the mayor in consultation with the attorney to move forward in the agreement with ordinance granting franchise at Georgia Power, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it. We will move forward with the agreement to franchise with Georgia Power. That's the last item on the agenda for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So at this point in time, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
I second.
So moved and been seconded. I'd like to call to question all those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, we stand adjourned. Thank you.